Okay, so we'll do the intro after we've done everything else. Going to try and use the Cricut Maker again, this time to cut polystyrene sheet. I suppose it's the same as plastic art and all of that. In future conversation, I refer to it as being 2mm thick. It's not, it's 1mm thick, and the ridges on it have a 2mm spacing. I have measured it, and it's 1mm thick over the maximum, so the actual sort of body is slightly under 1mm. So maybe slightly easier to cut. The vague idea we're going to make is a little industrial unit, 2 big doors, brick base, cladding side. No idea what I'm going to use for the roof, probably just plain card. Quick outlines made up just using the Cricut Design Space software. It really isn't great for making sort of architectural, engineering-y style drawings, and at some point I'm going to try and work out how to draw them in CAD and then import them, but this works for now. Okay, so we'll be on to the next video or next clip, and I'll show the results. So obviously this is cutting the textured plastic art sheets. It's 2mm thick and has a little ridge on it. Oh, take your finger off. Obviously it's a bit noisy because it's cutting over the ridges, but it's only tracing it, so we'll see how well it cuts out. But here's the plastic art. This took probably not much more than a minute to cut out, or it hasn't cut, obviously. I used the setting for 1mm magnetic sheet on the grounds of that I reckon would get a reasonable indent. So on the back you can see that it's definitely made a mark, and hopefully it should then just snap out reasonably easily. At this point, as a disclaimer, I've never used this stuff before in my life, so I don't really know what I'm doing with it, let alone with it and this. Seems sensible, doesn't it? Okay, I'll do this with 2 hands and come back. So that's all the pieces removed. I did have a little bit of issue trying to snap out, you know, where the doors and things were, because obviously it's quite hard to bend that without then bending across the actual bits that you want. So I resorted to the trusty knife. Be careful. It took one pass with those without too much pressure to actually fully cut through. So probably only maybe another 1 or 2 passes with the machine, and I think the pieces would have been loose. That said, if we align this on the mat and see if it's square, sorry, I should point the camera at it. I would say those are reasonably square. There is a little sort of tiny bit where the corner's not clean, and I think that's just you know, as it sort of gets there and then drags the blade round, obviously there's the chance of a small radius, but I think I would be able to clean that up okay with the knife. One of the edges was a little wiggly, but no, I can't actually find which one it was. Yeah, I think that edge isn't perfectly straight, but if it's not by much. And I think it's one of those things that for the time it took to cut that out, and the accuracy of it compared to me trying to cut it all out, especially going over the corrugations. Although I suppose maybe you're supposed to do it from the back. Don't know. Answers in the comments. Yeah, it's more accurate and quicker than I could have produced. So this is what it's supposed to look like. As I say, very small little industrial clad building. I put a lot of effort into thinking this through, hence the tiny sketch on a tiny piece of paper. But yeah, it definitely will cut. As I say, that is 2mm styrene sheet with a texture on it, and I ran the knife ran over the texture and didn't have any problem. It might have been more accurate actually if I had run it the other way with the knife underneath. The only other thing I could see you could have problems with is when you affix the sheet to the mat. If it's a little skewed, then obviously the system cuts based on XY, and therefore you could have cut all of the cladding was put on a slight angle on the building. So that, I think if it went wrong, you could end up ruining something very quickly, but a little care. So just to recap, I used a strong grip mat and affixed it around the edges with tape. I don't really think I needed to. It certainly didn't look like it was needing to move. I used a deep point blade that's been used to cut a reasonable bit of stuff before, so not brand new. And I used the 1mm magnetic sheet setting, which I think did 8 passes around each outline, which left very little to free it. So could probably have increased it to maybe 10 passes, and I think it would have cut them loose. Those little window reveals, I think, are... Hold on, I don't need to think. I have a ruler. 1.6mm across by 0.8 tall. And again, they're reasonably accurate, as close as I think. So what I'll have to now do is try and design the actual bits to go with this. So that'll be fun.